Let's turn now to the Philippines and the latest in the Typhoon Haiyan aftermath. The death toll jumped to 5,209 on Friday. It's a huge spike since just Thursday, where the death toll stood at slightly more than 4,000. On Friday, more than 500 evacuees were flown from the devastated city of Tacloban to Manila. There, they are receiving nourishment, medical attention, and stress counseling. Many survivors will be dependent on aid for months. Typhoon Haiyan has displaced an estimated 4 million people. 2 weeks after the typhoon ripped through the region, attention is now turning to rebuilding the ravaged coastline of the eastern Philippines. The UN estimates that could take as long as 4 or 5 years. But the question is, could precautions have been taken to limit the damage and the death toll? CCTV's Cheng went to one tiny island that has been preparing for a typhoon like this one for several years. Despite the eye of the storm passing very close to the island, there wasn't a single casualty, and most of the damage has now been repaired.
It was a storm so strong, no one had seen its like before. Winds over 300 kilometers an hour and a wall of water 3 meters high that drove inland like a tsunami. But could anything have been done to limit the damage or save lives? One tiny island close to the eye of the storm survived almost intact. Tulang Diot, just on the northern tip of the Camotes Islands. Local councillor Alan Cubos told me what happened.
Biggest typhoon in the story of this island.
I saw everything that happened. I was the only one that didn't evacuate, and I was watching as my house was destroyed.
But this island had been expecting a big storm, and they'd rehearsed what to do.
We practiced the drill twice already, because this is a special area of the Camotes Islands. And during the drill, we would bring covering and food and shelter into the school.
Now moving around the small village, you can barely tell what happened.
Because of the training and drills they'd gone through before the storm, when the typhoon actually struck, not a single person here was killed, wounded, and although there was considerable damage, because they were so well organized, a week later, most of the damage had been repaired.
Repair work on the damaged houses has been swift. The 700-strong community has pulled together. And the fishing boats on which the islanders rely also survived, pulled out of the sea and tied down. The fishermen are already back at work. If only other areas had taken the same precautions.
If they had been prepared, they would have evacuated to the mountain areas. Because the seawall wasn't high enough, the wave that came through was huge.
But other areas of the Camotes Islands were badly hit, and they're still in desperate need of aid. At a local school, the teachers are holding classes to keep the children occupied, but they say they still lack basic supplies.
In my case, I have not received any relief good, but others have.
Is it enough?
No, it is not enough because 3 kilos or 2 kilos is not enough for a family.
Back on the island, daily life has almost returned to normal. And it was thanks to basic preparations and awareness that all these people survived. Cheng, CCTV, Tulang Diot Island, the Philippines.